In this lesson, I'm going to share with you how you can give effective and clear answers in part 3 of the speaking section. So before I do that, let's just do a quick overview and reminder of what's included in the overall speaking section. There are 3 parts in the speaking section, and the whole speaking section is where you meet face-to-face with an examiner. The whole conversation you'll have with him and the talk that you give will take up to no more than 15 minutes. And in part 1, you're asked some questions about you, some personal questions about your hobbies, your work, your school or family life. And usually the examiner will focus in on one aspect. For example, when talking about your daily or weekly routine, he may ask you something about what you like to do during the week with your friends or family. And it may include a question, for example, like, do you like to go to restaurants, or what kind of restaurants do you like to eat at? And it's just a reminder that they're very personal and easy to answer because you are talking about you. You are the subject of the IELTS speaking test. Then in part 2, you'll be asked to give a 2-minute talk. And again, this will be something that's very common to your life and experience, and maybe a little bit of a continuation of one of the themes or questions that you were asked in part 1. So if you were asked about going to a restaurant and what kind of food that you like to eat, maybe in part 2, where you're asked to give a 2-minute talk, you may be asked to describe a time when you went to a restaurant. Who did you go with? What kind of food did you eat? Why did you choose this restaurant? And then a couple of questions just to follow up on that. But in part 3 is where you'll be asked to give some more answers to questions. And these will be asked where questions where you may be asked to give your opinion on something. And they may be questions, again, that are related to the topics that have been a common theme through parts 1 and 2. So you may be asked to talk again about eating out or eating at a restaurant. And your questions in question 3 may be something like this. So what you're asked to do is start speaking more generally on the same topic as you spoke about in part 2 and were introduced to in part 1. For example, there may be questions: do many people eat in restaurants in your country? Is it a popular thing to eat in restaurants? What kind of restaurants are more popular, fast food or traditional restaurants? You may be asked to give your opinion on why people enjoy eating out. And then it may shift a little bit to nutrition or diet, and then even to what you think children should be taught about healthy diets and cooking at school, at home, and questions like this, where you're asked to give a more general opinion about the same kind of topic that you spoke about and were introduced to in the first 2 parts of the speaking exam. So these questions are not something to worry about. You can answer them quite simply by having a strategy for these types of questions. And it's a strategy for sharing your opinion. And that's what I want to share with you, how you can effectively answer these questions and extend your answers and give the kinds of details that will get you a good score and help you to speak fluently. So what we want to do is we want to give our opinion. And when we're giving our opinion, we're going to use what I call the rule of 3. And if you include these 3 things in each answer that you give, You will answer effectively. Your answer will be extended appropriately. You'll have the right length of answer, and you will be able to speak clearly about and answer these questions. And remember that when it comes to the rule of three and sharing your opinion, you're speaking from your own experience. You're sharing your own ideas and your own thoughts and even your own feelings about the question you've been asked. And when it comes to sharing your opinion, there are no right or wrong answers. You're not going to be evaluated or judged on what your opinion is. You're simply being evaluated on your ability to communicate your ideas and your thoughts and your feelings in English. So don't worry about what your opinion is. Just worry about expressing it clearly, and you can do this quite easily using the rule of three. So, what is the rule of three, and what are the three things that you should include to give an appropriate answer to each question? Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you give a clear statement. You make your point clearly. And then once you've made your point or shared your opinion, you want to give a good reason. Just simply state why you believe that that's true or why you feel that way. And then you want to give a specific example. And this example is just simply going to come from your own life and experience. And this shouldn't be a difficult thing to come up with. You're already at the end of the speaking section. You've given examples from your own life and experience when you answered those introductory questions in part one. You've given it your whole talk in part two is giving an example from your own life and experience about something that you did or something that you have or received or that's important to you. So by the time you get to part three and you're answering these questions, you're warmed up, you're thinking in English, you're more relaxed. And so this should be one of the best times for you in the IELTS exam when you to feel confident and comfortable in answering questions. So you're just simply going to give a clear statement, a reason for that statement, and a specific example from your own life and your own experience. So let's just look at some of examples of the type of question that you might have to answer in this section. So let's say you've just been talking about employment, maybe your own work, your own experience. You've given a talk about maybe a job that you've had in the past and why you enjoyed it and why it was important to you. And now you're just going to speak more generally about the same topic and answer questions about employment. So there are many different possibilities, and you'll only be asked to answer two or three different questions. And here's some examples of types of questions that you could be asked that have to do with employment or jobs. So they're very general. For example, what kinds of jobs have the highest salaries in your country? Why? Are there any jobs that you think should have higher salaries? So even in that question, you can see what your opinion consists of. Are there any jobs that you think? What do you think? This is all you're expressing in speaking section part three. Are all jobs of equal importance? What is the most common way to get a job these days? And is money always the most important thing when choosing a job? So let's choose one of these questions, and I'll just give you an example of how to answer one of these questions. And I'm going to use the question towards the bottom. Here it says, is money always the most important thing when choosing a job? So I would simply start by saying, in my opinion, I don't think money is the most important thing when choosing a job. I don't think, and the reason for this is because I don't think money is always the best source of happiness. I think job satisfaction could be more important. For example, a few years ago, I was speaking to someone who was giving me some good advice, and I said to him, "What do you think the perfect job is?" And his simple advice to me was, find something that you love to do. And then something that you love so much, you would do it for free. And then become very good at it. Become so good at it that somebody would be willing to pay you to do that job. And that's the most important job. And that's why I don't think that money is always the most important thing when it comes to choosing employment. So you can see how simple it is to answer one question. It's not too long, it's not too short, and I haven't added in any extra details that weren't necessary. And I've answered the question quite simply and clearly that I've been given by the examiner. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope that you can see how these lessons about speaking section 1, 2, and 3 can be put together to get a good score on the IELTS exam.